Halo Campaign Evolve. The Halo Campaign Evolve is a game that I've actually finished recently with a friend. We played it on Legendary difficulty, and it was just two of us. At first, it was kind of a pain, but once we started playing more of it and getting more of the gimmicks out and finding out how to, do things better, then the game became, a little bit easier, that's for sure. Even if we died a lot, it still felt like we knew what we were doing. It was just all kind of gimmicks, to some extent. Kind of old school stuff, just get behind the enemy and that's pretty much it. It's over for the enemy. Yeah, that stuff follows through here. However, there is more stuff that I would like to talk about. One of those is my story with Halo. I have never owned an Xbox before, so I've never actually played Halo before. I did play a little bit of Halo multiplayer or Halo 2 multiplayer. I'm not sure which one it was. It wasn't on my console. I don't have an Xbox. I never owned one. It was at a friend's house, and that's where I played Halo more. I had a couple friends actually that had Halo, but to say that I was an extreme fan of Halo, no. I think the only one I played the most, besides this one now, was Reach. Halo Reach was probably the only one that I played the most, but I played so little of it that I wouldn't be able to tell you if I liked it or not. However, with this one being remade from pretty much not even a remaster, it is a full-on remake. This game has a few things that I would like to mention. One of those is that this game, in terms of gameplay, it actually still feels very satisfying. It feels very, very good to fight. Explosions are very awesome, right? Like, explosions in Halo are very good. Even to this day, they feel very, very awesome. The cutscenes look really pretty. And then there's the other thing too. I was told that some of the things that they did to this game is that they changed a couple things. Not everything was changed, but that some things were changed. And that's where people seem to have a problem with. There was changes to the story in some parts, and I guess some people didn't actually like that. And it's not because they didn't like it, it's because they didn't change enough. And for others, they would have just liked a straight up the same game as we had before, or as they had before, I should say. And to that extent, yeah, I mean, this is my first time playing this game, so my opinion on what the story is will not matter whatsoever, because this is my first time actually experiencing this game for the first time. I haven't checked out the other endings or the other story changes that they had, but from a gameplay standpoint, I was told while we were playing what some of the changes were, how there's enemies, positions in places where they didn't even used to exist. Enemy placement seems to be like new in some areas. There's just some enemy types that weren't in the original one that came out in later games. And I think from a gameplay standpoint, I think it feels better to have it this way, because it definitely feels like the combat got a touch up in a way. It doesn't feel so old, except for maybe one room where you're just kind of doing like a puzzle door. You're supposed to activate these laser thingies. There's no enemies on there either. It's just you're supposed to solve a puzzle and then you can go through the door. I think that one area of the game was kind of unnecessary, though it was very short, especially if you know the order of how you're supposed to press or activate those terminals or whatever it is called. But it does go really fast, and I could have gone without it. It is definitely something like old school. It just doesn't match the way it's supposed to look, I guess. Besides that, the game is very good. The game is still very fun. Voice acting, I don't know. I don't know if it's dialogue. It's definitely not the voice acting I have an issue with. Maybe some of the dialogue that I have an issue with, because it does feel very old school. However, I wouldn't say this is my problem. This might be a problem to some people, and I'm starting to see why people that are new to other things can't get into remakes much. For example, the Star Fox one, right? Where they felt like the game was just old, but with new graphics. I can kind of get that now. I understand it because, you know, if you never experienced those games before, then sure. But I still enjoy it. This is not really like a gripe for me, since I'm very understanding of the fact that this was a game that came out back then. So it is a pass, but it does feel kind of odd from time to time with the really nice and, you know, fresh paint of color and visuals to the cutscenes. So yeah, it kind of does put you off just a little bit, but not too much for me to ruin my experience personally. I honestly think Halo Campaign Evolved is a good game, especially for people that haven't played Halo whatsoever and are new to the Halo series. However, one of the biggest issues that I have with remakes and the engines that creators or developers choose to do with the remakes. One of them, yes, for sure, it would be the engine that you're using. Why? Because as pretty as this game is, it is also at times very realistic in a way that it actually kind of takes the art style of something kind of to the side. Some areas look really pretty, especially internal ones. I think almost any area that has to do with being inside, it's probably where the game looks best. It is a little darker, it is kind of greedy, there's monsters everywhere, almost feels like Doom. Your blasts are, you know, they glow like a lot and stuff. It's really impactful. But once you go outside, and when I went outside the first time, especially on the beach part, there was something about the look that the visuals didn't really carry too much tension for me. The beach just kind of ended up looking like any other beach per se, so that actually took some of the tension away from me. And I mentioned it before in other games that use Unreal Engine. I think that's mainly an Unreal Engine where where Unreal Engine really wants to capitalize on easy use, of course, easy of use and easy to use and very nice, you know, graphics for your games. Yes, but lighting is very important. Setting up a scene is very important. And I think that's where Unreal Engine kind of diverts from other engines, for example. So let's say this game was made with Unity Engine, then the game will probably look a little bit more colorful, a little bit, not exactly colorful to the point where it's cartoonish, but you will at least see the colors from within its time in a way, while mixing in the fresh new coat of paint with the graphics and the fidelity of them and everything. It's just pretty much those things, right? Other than that, I actually had a really fun time. The game took me like maybe 2 to 3 days. I think it took me a little longer, but that's because me and my friends started it kind of late. Or at least I did. I started it kind of late. Besides that, I actually really had fun playing Halo. I know why people like Halo. I think people that like Halo probably like Doom 2016. They probably like Quake and stuff like that. You know, those kind of fast action moving shooters or first person shooters where you just can't really afford to stand still. You just gotta always keep moving. You know, have more of that chaotic action chaos in a shooter. Yeah, I think that's what people like. And I kind of like that myself too. It was definitely very Doom at times, very arcadey and fun and chaotic. And especially once you get a team of 4 on your team. First of all, a team of 4 on your team makes the game way easier. Way easier. Co-op is so easy only due to the fact that if one of you lives, well, if one of you dies and the other one lives, that one that lives gets to run away to eventually respawn back your person that fast, and therefore you will always be able to just not die or stuff like that. So there is ways to making this game really easy. But when it's 4 players, oh my god, that was so fun. I'm glad I got to experience that at least once during my whole playthrough. Just once for like a mission or so. Maybe not even a full mission, but at least part of a mission. I think that's it. This game really brings out the classic first-person shooters and what made first-person shooters stand out even more in that generation of games. And I understand why. I see why people like Halo. I want to see what the new remakes have to do with, or how they handle the second one, if there even is going to be a Halo 2 remake. You know, campaign evolved Halo 2 thing, whatever. If there is a new one, then I can't wait to see what it's like. Obviously, my opinion on that might vary between people that haven't played it and people that have played old school Halo. For me, I'll be anticipating it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I also have a Patreon if you guys want to support me and the channel directly. With that said, thank you guys for being here, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.